Hey guys, it's Plays with Trucks back at the Trucks Customs Garage, and as you can see I got my portable airbrush spray booth here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to disassemble this, but I'm also going to do a review in the process while I'm doing that. Tell you what I think about this unit and how I've picked it up, everything carried around, some other stuff along those lines. And I'm sitting here pretty close to the tripod, so if I hit it, I apologize. It's just part of this videoing that I'm doing and the camera that I'm using and the angles that I have. So as you see here, you'll notice that I have 4 strips of painter's tape on here. This is not how the unit comes. One thing I forgot to mention in my tools video, my intro video and my tools video, was that you'd need some sort of measuring device. It could be a ruler. I used tape measure, just something I had laying around the house, and then I just measured off 4, and I'm going to use this as a guide to where I stick my lights. And as you notice, this is toward one end. It's not evenly spaced across there, and I'll tell you why I did that. Quickly, I'll just go ahead and tell you though that this is at 1 inch, this edge is at 1 inch, and then they're 1.25 inches a piece apart, and I'm going to stick it on the edges closest to my hand. So I'll give you that measurement there. But basically, once you just flip this up and then open it up, you know, it just kind of opens up here. And the reason that I put those where I did is because as you assemble this together, and I'll adjust the camera if I need be to make sure I get this in there so you guys can see it. So, well, maybe I'll get this thing put together right. And I know I'm not using all 4 of them, so that's a little bit why it keeps falling apart on me. But you can see back here, the way this is angled, I'm putting the lights out back toward the back of it and not running them all the way out to the end. They're going to shine down at an angle, which this is primarily where the model's going to be. So let's go ahead and I'm going to scoot this back a little bit here, guys, and I'm going to pull the turntable out of it, and then I'm going to go ahead and open this up and show you guys how this thing goes together. Most of y'all already have one of these, so you're already familiar with it. So it just folds together just like that. It all synchronized together. So there you guys go, and then of course as you're spraying, you got the Lazy Susan or the dolly or whatever you want to call it here. You can move it around, you can put your paint stand on it, you can do with it whatever you want to. Back here you have the filter media, and then I'll flip this around real quick. You have a storage compartment over here on the side, and that's where the adapter goes. Whenever you're storing it, you just pop it open, wind the cord, stick it in there. Of course, on top you have the power button and you have the power inlet. And then I'm just going to come in right here and install my switch for my lights. And that way I can just come right off of the edge of the thing there. Right off the edge of these 2 switches, the power supply and the switch that's already in there. Of course, you got the handle. You've got over here on this side just the model number and everything. Some of the specification information. You have some features down here on this side. Up on the top here you have the instructions on how to assemble it, so if you ever, hopefully you won't ever lose those. On the back here you have the exhaust fan, and I'm not showing it here. This one came with the hose and everything, so you can just pull these 4 screws out to attach the hose to it. But this is a 12 volt 1.3 amp motor. If you guys ever need to replace this, just so you know, a lot of the motors that are in computer towers are 12 volt motors. So you should be able to find a replacement motor pretty easily and not have to spend the whole large sum of purchasing a new one if your motor goes out or anything. This baffles me. I don't know why there's 3 screws here, and as I've already opened this up, but as I go through it, I'll show you. I don't know what they're there for. They're just there, and maybe it has something to do with the exhaust tube, but I haven't figured it out yet, so we'll go through that. Alright, so we're back here, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this back down put this here. Hopefully you guys can see this good. I'll try to set it on a little bit of an angle. But you got this plastic ring in here, and you just basically can pull down on that. That plastic ring comes right out. I will note that this has 2 notches on one side, and the reason it does is I'll show you in a minute. But then you just pull your filter media out, and I'm sure you can pick this stuff up anywhere. You don't have to spend all the money that someone is going to charge you. I think this right here you can actually get at Hobby Lobby. I think they call it floss or something. I think it's for upholstery or other stuff. But you can use just about any media. You can go buy an AC filter at Walmart, you know, 4-pack for $2.50 or whatever it is, and cut to fit that. But as you can see, there's a couple bolts in here from the handle, and that's why you had the cutouts on the plastic ring. Now you've got this screen in here, and it's normally held in by 4 screws. I've already taken 3 of them out, so I'm just going to take this 4th one out. And this was what I was talking about. It can be a bear to get out, so you can just use any type of tool that you want to pull it out. Mine, let's see if I can just pull that sucker out, because I've already had it out, so it is easy. First time it was just jammed in there, so I had to get me a small gang screwdriver, little flathead screwdriver like this right here. Okay, and further in here, once you open that up, you've got this black shield in here, and this just allows all the air to move in to that area. It doesn't allow all this open space to collect it. Now, as you can see, I've already taken 3 of these out, and I've backed this one out. This is for time saving, so I'm going to back this 4th one out. I will tell you one thing about this. To me, this is constructed well, and it's designed well, engineered well. But the one thing that I do not like is these 4 screws are machine screws, which makes absolutely no sense why you're putting a machine screw into plastic. Normally you want something with a larger teeth that'll grip the plastic better. Those machine screws will just basically, it'll strip the plastic out, and maybe that's why they did it. But you pull this little ring out, and I say but because then you pull the little shield out, and you expose your fan here. So I said but a minute ago. In here, if you look, these are a more typical screw that you would see inside of plastic or wood or something. And this is why it makes no sense to me that they put these 4 on the back, yet they used 4 machine screws on the front, unless they're just wanting you to strip it out. Now, once we open this up, you can kind of see the little box here. That's where the power supply goes. And then up here, you have the little, in the back, you have the power connect, and then the wires run into one side of the switch, and then they're transferred over to the other side of the switch through the spade connectors. And then there's a nice little channel right up in here that holds your wires in for that. Now again, this is a 12-volt power supply, and my LED lights that I purchased are 12-volt lights. So I'm just going to use this power supply to supply the power to my lights. And what I'm ultimately going to do is I'm going to tag into here. I'll run, likely what I'll do is I'll just take the negative and tie it right in here, and I won't have to worry about it. Then I'm going to take this positive, run it out of this switch into the light switch, and then I'll run that out of the light switch into the lights. Now I don't have to do it that way. If I want to, I can tie it in on this side, and then the switch controls my lights all together, and then I can run my lights separately. And I may actually wind up doing that. It's just kind of prerogative, you know. Now that I think about it, I probably will wind up doing that, and then I can turn my lights on. I don't have to turn my fan on, and I don't have to worry about, you know, the noise of the fan just to turn my lights on. I can use it for whatever reason. If I turn my fan off, I can look at the model with the lights on and everything like that. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the review of the spray booth here. You can see that's a pretty nice hefty fan there. It looks like it ought to draw a pretty good bit. This is the output on the power supply is 1.5 amp, and the maximum draw on this is a 1.3 amp, which leaves you about 0.2 amps to work with. And fortunately, the LED lights draw very, very little power, so there's not going to be an overdraw on the power supply based off of just adding these lights. These lights consume very, very little power. So if you're worried or concerned about that, or if you've thought about that, don't, because that's just not going to be an issue. Okay guys, that's basically the second video that I'm going to do on this. I'm going to get into marking some stuff up and start some of the work on this, and I'll start to shoot it. Some of them I'm going to do, some of the work I'll do without you guys seeing, but I'll show you what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. I just don't want these videos to get too long. There's going to be quite a few videos. We'll just have to see how long it takes me to go through this. But at least you have the option to go through each step and look and say, okay, he's done this, I can just go to this video. He's done this, I can go to that video. And you don't have to sit through a 45, 50-minute video to see this. Alright guys, this is James, aka Plays with Trucks. I am out of here.